Right, so in your energy today, okay, so your angels and ancestors want you to know. Right, so I wasn't meaning to pull this deck. I was pulling out another deck and these fell out, so I believe they're meant to be here. Okay, so I'm probably tapping into somebody that's very sensitive. Spirit wants you to know. Um, it's very likely, and you might already know this, so it's just confirmation, but it's because you're psychic or you've got these spiritual gifts, and if you don't work, it's a school here, so if you don't learn to work with them properly, that sensitivity properly, it can be harder for you, okay, because you feel everything deeply. And things that aren't your energy, things that are your energy, things, so you feel everything to a higher degree. And I think there could be, for some of you out there, it might be helpful to maybe look at some YouTube videos, see how you can shut your energy down. You can use white light, call on Archangel Michael, but we've also got breath work out here that landed on the floor. So, and I always think that's what you're probably disregarding, what's on the floor, or what's sort of hidden. So for those of you, and this is important for anybody, even if you sort of don't feel like you've got strong intuition or spiritual gifts, breathing deeply is important to help your nervous system relax, and also remembering your blessings. Okay, so I'm thinking affirmations, breathing deeply, meditation, using white light, and I'm also hearing to believe it. Like you're powerful, you're a manifester, you're a creator. Believe it. Believe that light is protecting you. Believe those deep breaths are healing you. Breathe in the faith, release the fear, or however you want to do it. I'm sure you can find things that are probably better than I can explain, but yeah, so that's in your energy. But ultimately, I don't think it's like a lecture or anything like that. I think it's just a reminder, or if not a nudge or a confirmation. So just put that where that fits. You do have another energy in your energy field. Okay, so when I cut this deck, it said call and contacting you soon fell out, and then TikTok fell out. Okay, this is more than likely a twin flame. 222 is my twin flame card, but it doesn't always mean that for me. It can just mean that you're on a spiritual path. And of course, twin flame, it could be high level soulmate. Just put it where it fits, and that could be people, places, family, whatever. So just put it, translate it where it needs to be translated. But my immediate feeling was, you've probably got this person blocked, okay? And I'm also, they want you to unblock them. So I'll carry on with the reading. That's what they want, okay? So I guess if you do want to hear from them soon, or you have heard from them soon, it's possibly because you've unblocked, or if you do, unblocking might be helpful if you want to hear from them. But I do feel like whatever boundary you've put up, or if not blocked, you've actually established more balance for yourself. Okay, I think and what's happened, it's sort of it's a sort of a split thing. You've gained deeper awareness about what you don't want to accept anymore. I think you feel like this behavior that was exhibited by this person and possibly others wasn't showcasing behavior that was treating you well. Okay, so they've lost access to you. Okay, but not only have you gained this deeper perspective and understanding and found this balance from moving away the chariot, this person also has, but they're having a deeper realization of on the perspective of their mistakes. Okay, they're starting to recognize that they didn't really let you know how happy you made them. They're also starting to realize that they probably impacted your light, like they didn't celebrate you, and if they did, not to the degree where you wanted to keep them around, or not, create this boundary. And a lot of it had to maybe do with them being withholding in nature. So perhaps they struggle with being vulnerable, or further than that, they actually have issues with empathy and poor impulse control or something like that. We've got Leo out here. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. So I think this person is, I don't know, I don't feel like they fully understood this, but these, now you've moved your energy, that's where they are, and it doesn't matter what decks I'm pulling, it's the same thing, and it's impacting their wealth. But for you, you've got another abundance card, and that's a totally different deck. Okay, so you're heading to your abundance, and I think it's because you found this balance. Maybe you've already learnt to work with your sensitivity. Perhaps you're, sorry, excuse me, spiritual burp. You're so sensitive and felt all this depth. This was hard work to transmute and alchemize this energy of somebody being, at the very least, childish. The other cards that fell out for them is that I'm going to be the man you deserve, which of course put it as woman if it is. Childish came upside down, and I only love you. So this person recognizes they don't want to be childish. That's the only one that came upside down. These came sideways. That's why I sort of feel like they're still like, I don't know, maybe they see it as part of their identity, you know, like to have a stiff upper lip, or, you know, like, you know, I don't want to be vulnerable. I don't want to admit how happy you make me, or something like that. But I've also, the half animal, half spirit cards came out. I think this person, I wouldn't, it feels to me that they're probably more interested in their animal self, their carnal self, their pleasures, the 3D, the matrix, and you're probably more interested in spirit, how things feel, healing, helping. I'm not saying you're perfect and they're not perfect, but you're coming from sort of polar opposite ends here. And I do feel there might be a turning point for them where they're starting to recognize spirits in a way that they haven't before. And maybe it's just your spirit, because we've got the glowing card upside down. I think they probably know that they sort of dampened your spirit, and you've had to leave because they were snuffing your light out. Spirit wants you to know that you've got good luck in love and it's renewal. I think this could be self-love, but I do also feel if you want to unblock this person, there is a potential for renewal of love with this person. Okay, I don't believe that's where your good luck is stemming, like, oh, I better unblock them then, or I better start speaking to them because I'm stopping my good luck. I don't feel that. Obviously, if you get this reading, you feel like, well, I do feel like that. Follow your intuition always, or your own downloads, or your own spirit team that are talking to you. But I just think that you're increasing your good luck because you've chose yourself. Okay, you found balance, and that doesn't mean you're balanced all the time. Because when I saw this earlier about the sensitivity score, I think you might struggle at times because you are so sensitive. You do feel things so deeply, possibly other people's mistakes, you know, that they've enforced on you, and not only, you know, and which would be hard for anybody, but you feel it to a level where it gets inside of you. It doesn't brush off you. This person, I wouldn't say it brushes off them, but they're not working at the same level of sensitivity as you because they don't have that level of empathy. They just don't. They just don't. So for somebody like them, it's not so problematic. Let's just say that. It doesn't mean they got no sensitivity whatsoever. It's not. But I do think I could be tapping into somebody that's got a great deal of it, and it's part of your spiritual gifts. So do honor it, but also take control of it. You know, and that's not to tell you off. You know, like, get control. You know, it's not that. You have to be gentle with yourself, and you know, if you find yourself and it's, you know, it's all overwhelming, allow it to be overwhelming, but pull on resources. Lie down, put nice music on, you know, whatever it takes. Write it out, go for a walk, sit on the balcony or in the garden, or, you know, just, I think I'd be very surprised if I'm not tapping into someone who's already doing these things. But when I initially felt it, I felt it needed to be said, and maybe it's just confirmation. Okay, let's move on. Also, a card that did fall out is that your father is sorry. Again, it doesn't have to be a father, but there we are. You know, it could be it could even be a woman in masculine energy. Okay, so this person or people treated you poorly before they believed in God, and I was feeling that with that half animal, half spirit. I do think they're tapping more into understanding your spiritual nature and spiritual nature in general, and maybe the spiritual nature of life. Possibly they're having more coincidences or synchronicities or supernatural events. Maybe you are. Yeah. Tell me more about that. It says book a date with a friend, but of course, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. Do that. If there's somebody out there that you know, you love and trust and treats you well, do that. But my initial feeling was that is book a date with yourself. You've become your own best friend. Okay. And real memories come out here. And I did feel I think it was the last reading, and I felt strongly like there might be triggers, or, you know, maybe now you've just started on your spiritual awakening, and it's, you know, it's like a sea, like a ebb and flow. And I think maybe sometimes it can feel like things are coming up, you know, things are coming up to the surface for you, and spirit wants you to know that those memories are real. But don't, you know, if they are uncomfortable, just please remember to breathe deeply. They're not happening now. Spirit just wants to heal, you know, there's whether you want to call it spirit or your inner self, just wants to heal it. So maybe that's why that sensitivity is coming out. So it's not just like, oh, some little blip of a memory. It's a body experience. But that doesn't have to be for all of you. But yeah, karma's hitting this person, which is lessons. And it's because of the way they treated you. They did treat you poorly. And I don't think it's just one person. And maybe if you've got a connection to this person, especially if it was a twin flame, it could knock onto you, and you're very sensitive, so you're going to feel it. So, you know, do ask for protection from Archangel Michael, and not just once. Okay, keep asking. I did see that earlier. I don't want to tap into that right now, Spirit. Okay. Yeah, so this person or people starting to realise that they projected onto you, and maybe you need to be reminded of this. Maybe you're having memories come up about how people, you know, the poor treatment you did receive, and Spirit just wants you to know it's projection. They're just literally projecting how they feel onto you, and you are more than likely a soft landing. Okay, they know you're not going to hurt them back, more than likely. I mean, I don't know who I'm tapping into, but, you know, it's a safe place to land. And Spirit just and maybe sometimes you wonder if it's projection. Did you deserve it? Is there some truth in it? It's projection. It's nothing to do with you. We've got I'm marrying you. What a surprise. That was sideways. So, you know, I think this is just their inner thoughts. Now, you know, the twin flame or high level soulmate put it where it is. I think they see you as their wealth, as their abundance. Perhaps you were quite good luck to them. There's, you know, without your energy, they feel like they have less luck, or I saw healer there. Yeah, less healing. They feel less healed. They like your strong personality. Messages for the collective, please, Spirit, and God's will. Oh, and they wish they could take their words back. And I don't think that's just one person. And just be aware, if I'm tapping into somebody who's very sensitive, yeah, think about grounding yourself. Imagine red roots from your feet going into the ground, like right into the centre of the earth, around a big rock. I usually use a clear quartz rock, like a massive one, to ground yourself, because I think you're picking up on many things. You're picking up on stuff, maybe in past life. I also just heard you might be getting dreams from this that seem a bit supernatural, like you're contacting other realms, but of course it can't be for all of you. So yeah, really look after your spiritual hygiene. You know, you're a sensitive being for a reason, because you can't be spiritual and not sensitive. But I don't know how those two things go hand in hand, but yeah, I'll leave that there. Messages for collective, please, Spirit. Yeah, this person's recovering from some of their addictions. Tell me more about that. Okay, so you've got ancestors here. I wouldn't be surprised if your ancestors are visiting you, you know, in dreams or through these insecurities. Did I say insecurities? I meant synchronicities, but it could be both. Maybe your ancestors want to bring your insecurity to the surface so you can heal it. And just know it's not, you know, it's not yours. Whatever insecurities were magnified is projection. Okay, it's the other person. It's nothing to do with you. Yeah, people that were unfair. And it's because of your strong personality. They can feel your light, even if it's unconscious. You know, you're working with spirit. You're high vibrational spiritual being. Tell me more, please, Spirit. Perhaps you didn't know about this, that your impact on other souls, you know, like that is part of your journey, or even part of your career. Or I just saw twin flame again. I'm missing you terribly. I saw high vibration too. So, you know, you're in a high vibration. Yeah, shadow acceptance. I think your ancestors and spirit team may well be trying for you to accept the shadow side of yourself. Maybe you're ashamed that you're so sensitive at times, or ashamed that these trauma memories, or you had to deal with all this unfair projection. I don't know if shamed is the right word, but hurt. And you're taking the shame on like it's yours. It's not yours. It's not yours. Give it to God. Yeah, you've got lots of ancestors looking after you, even passed over pets. They love you. Yeah, you just had cruel people around. And it doesn't mean that it's just their behaviour is cruel. At the heart of it, they're not. They struggled with you. Yeah, people that probably couldn't take accountability, so they just threw it on you. Maybe even your father did this. Or, you know, Father Ra. Just saw Leo flash again, so there's got to be a confirmation for someone out there. Yeah, they're drowning. Without your light, without your healing spiritual light. Yeah, I reckon, I'd imagine Leo, I don't know if you can see, because the light's a bit funny. They and I'm being brought to call. They really want to contact. They really want to get in contact with you. Messages for the collective, please, Spirit. Yeah, they recognise how selfish and cruel they were. Got a large sum of money coming to you. That's why this abundance card is coming out so much in different decks. And as I always say, it's not always money, because, you know, money isn't everything, and it's quite a low vibrational energy, which I know I do, but it is in the spiritual realm. It's not the highest vibrational of energy. So, you know, it could well be a gift from your ancestors, where you learn to work with this sensitivity so it doesn't impact you in a negative way. If it does, you know, it's definitely something good. Yeah, so you could have been around people that love bombed you, that wanted to control you, and sort of tried to ruin you. So, you know, people that have a lot of lessons to learn. And you were more than likely sent in their life to teach them a lesson, okay? Because what you were a Queen of Cups in your energy for them, loving, accepting all this unfairness, alchemizing it, transmuting it. And then you became the Queen of Swords. You got your sword out, and you basically cut those cords. Hopefully not with your twin flame, because you're not really supposed to do that. But, you know, that's another They didn't see that coming. That's almost why you were put there. So it all gets put back to them. Because they were happy. They were happy just throwing their rubbish on you. If even if it's unconscious, it's like, great, this person just collects my rubbish. I'm not saying it's deliberate or malicious or conscious even, but energetically that was, like, God, this is making me feel good. I'll get to just throw my rubbish there, play games, be a bit cruel sometimes, so they don't have to look at themselves. It's great. It's great. And she just loving all the time, being nice to me, being kind to me. And then you put your sword up, and that's not that you weren't kind. It's that, love and light is light illuminates everything, okay? And love, real love, has has boundaries. It has shape. It's not forever and always giving. And that's what you became. Now they wish they could take back their words. I wouldn't be surprised if the words are landing inside of them, yeah, because you're healing. Now that you're in the space of healing and finding this balance and heading towards this abundance, if it's not already there, learning to work with the sensitivity, getting this deep perspective that, you don't sort of know why you're there to begin with, sort of energy, the high priestess, which goes back to this, you're probably full-blown psychic and stuff. You know that you don't want conflict in your energy field. You've renewed the self-love. You're experiencing good luck, or it's definitely coming, because you've set up this beautiful garden, and that sword is cutting out any weeds. Before, you were just letting weeds overgrow and saying, oh, I love all plants. And there's nothing wrong with loving all plants, but you can put I mean, there's some people that, yeah, the devil. You just learn to be discerning. You don't want the weeds that are selfish and using you to help themselves in their ego, or whatever they were doing. And I am called to say that they, more than likely, this wasn't malicious or calculated. Very often behavior isn't, it's just automatic, but it's all energy, it's all frequency, it's all spiritual. So you've taken a leap of faith in a new direction that isn't with conflict, and more than likely away from this union, not only with your twin flame, but union with people that are bringing you conflict, are bringing you these weeds. You've become your own emperor. I wouldn't be surprised if you're not really looking for love right now, just looking for your love in yourself and the creator. Or and love for projects, new ideas, like fulfilling those. Tell me more, please, Spirit. But yeah, just don't get into this self-blame energy when you're because you are so sensitive, and just make sure you remember it's projection. God made you. Yeah, you got good news coming. Yeah, so you were around energies that were sort of deceptive, and again, it could be deliberate, but it may well not be. It's just people that haven't. You're slightly further up the ladder than they are. But you've got out of this, but I do think it might repeat on you. I think that's why I got that ebb and flow with the sea, like it can recycle, and you're very sensitive. So do you remember your blessings, the blessings you've had, your ancestors, your gorgeous pets, if you've had them, that are still there looking after you. The fact that you're heading towards this abundance very well could be money, since it comes out every reading different. Your own self-love. And I am inclined to say that you could have very well been somewhat deceptive to yourself. For a long time you were just allowing those weeds to grow, and you were pretending it wasn't ruining your beautiful flowers in your garden. And it's not to say that these people are just weeds and they're rubbish and let them go, but you're allowed to choose what's in your garden. And for a long time, maybe if you came from trauma, maybe something to do with the father, doesn't have to be. You grew up with those weeds. They're familiar. But yeah, this person or people are now feeling foolish. I just saw 2522 on the clock. Yeah, perhaps you just had some cloudy judgment, rather than, like, deceptive can sound quite strong. You know, you were ready to see it when you saw it, but I think you may have seen it before, but you know, for whatever reason it was, it took you some time. Sort of abundance again, I just saw. I don't know which way that fell out, but it says it's time for me to heal now. But I think that's where you were. You realised it's time for, you know, it's time to take these weeds out and just let my garden breathe. Work on my high priestess energy, so whether it's your intuition, sensitivity, psychicness, whatever. Yeah, you had to call death on this situation, and it took you a while to get this foresight. We do have family here, so I think it could involve family, or those weeds and things. Is, you know, it started in your family. And another way to say the weeds is just people that have low empathy and poor impulse control, okay, who need to project to regulate themselves. And there was a lot of people around you projecting to regulate themselves, and that was, you know, by being withholding, perhaps outright cruel behaviour. But yeah, but they thought you were trapped, but you're not trapped, because you're a butterfly. You flew away. They didn't have this foresight. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you thought these connections or connection would have a place in your garden all your life. Yeah, these people, they like to gossip and things, maybe about your love life. Abundance card flashed out again. Abundance flashed out again. Yeah, these people can't see you. I wouldn't be surprised if they're blocked. Not for all of you, because you're healing. You're focused on your own success, whatever that looks like, and that can be big or small. It doesn't always have to be these massive things. But it's like creating your own stability. But remember, it's not like one straight road. Okay, like you can dip. Yeah, people didn't know that you were going to transform into this butterfly, or if they did have an inkling, they certainly didn't want it to happen. Yeah, so they're in sorrow and pain. You could very well pick up on that energy sometimes, especially if this has got to do with a twin flame. I feel like these people can't gossip about you anymore because they can't see you. You're not in their energy. Witchcraft has been coming out a lot recently. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but I feel like some of these energies feel like you are doing witchcraft. And again, if you feel like somebody's done witchcraft on you, you know, negatively, just ask for Archangel Michael to dissolve all of that. Your ancestors, you know, light a candle and, you know, pray and ask and let it go. Just let it go. Don't fuel it. Yeah, so you tell me more about that. Yeah, these connections were soul connections. You were supposed to meet them. You agreed to meet these people before you came down. Of course, the twin flame, you know, that's a given. But they didn't expect you to release them. They didn't expect you to reject whatever they were doing. And I think there was some silence about it. Like, is it the neglectful? Sporadically warm? Not really, I don't know. Yeah, but they were mostly interested in gossip. I don't think you gossiped with them, though. So, yeah, it's probably best they're not in your energy. Finality, yeah. Because you don't want that weed energy around you. Like, you know, the weeds. Yeah, I feel like they just wanted to, like, get information on you. You know, gossip about it. I feel like something to do with love, like what love interest. But again, that doesn't have to be for all of you. But they wanted it to go wrong. But you've got wedding rings here, so, and the wedding cards. I mean, so for some of you, you know, you may well unblock this person and, you know, have abundance with them. And I don't mean, well, it could be money, but, you know, just have a fulfilling situation with them. You know, you could very well find paradise together. But if you feel, you know, that's not where you are right now, because we have got muse upside down. I don't know if you see this person as much of a muse, although they've recognised you're theirs. You don't have to. You're already heading to abundance. It's not to do with this person. So, you know, if you've created those boundaries and you're like, oh, like, it's for those of you that feel it's okay, you know, like that it feels right. Yes, this person definitely wants to talk, but I think it could ruin your peace a little bit. I feel like it might disturb your perspective. Are they a good talker? Have they got a strong energy? Messages for collective, please, Spirit. I better stop soon. I didn't. What's that say here? Okay, yeah. So this energy's addicted to you. Abundance card. What did that land on? Yeah, this person wants to marry you. They want to have abundance with you. Their abundance is suffering. So I think it could well be their well-being. You know, without your healing energy, they've had to really think. Make some, you know, think about things they didn't know that they had to think about. But, you know, it's free will. Don't turn your diligence upside down. Because I think you love this person, but I don't know if they're good for you. Sneaky. So, you know, make sure that's all sorted out. I'm inclined to put that on top of the devil card. They have a shadow side. Okay, I mean, we all have light and dark, you know, that's part of the world, light and dark, shadow and light, but I think this person has been operating from the shadows for a while. Yes, if you don't give them a second chance, they feel like their abundance is going to go down even further. So they're desperate for this second chance. And maybe you didn't give them a second chance because they got lustful behaviour. I've just got to go with it. But again, and lusting could just be that, you know, not lusting over things. It doesn't have to be of a sexual nature. It could be, you know, lusting over everything that, not giving the time to you, know, work, you know, putting other priorities in front of you. But I think for some of you, it wasn't that. I think they were just after people that weren't soulmates. So they don't have to do any work and they could just treat you anyhow, because they didn't want to heal, but without your energy they're struggling. Yeah, they feel like they don't have a foundation, and it's making them angry, and they're angry that you chose faith. Like, I think they're struggling with, like, how they're going to compete with God. If you are finding yourself like extra sensitive or something, please just take things minute by minute. You don't need to sort it all out. You know, sometimes when you're overwhelmed, you feel like, oh, I've got to sort my whole life out right now for the next 5 minutes. No, you don't. Yeah, no one can manipulate you anymore. I'm just getting the vision of those weeds strangling all those flowers. That can't happen anymore. You're too grounded. Yeah, because you've had a spiritual awakening. Those days are over. And you're walking karma. You've impacted this person's wealth. Yeah, take a breath. So if I am tapping in, I've got the breathing card earlier, you know, got plenty of time. You can relax. Everything's good. Everything's in divine order. All is well. You're safe. You know, do your best to stay in that energy and call on Archangel Michael. Archangel Michael, oh, sorry. Thank you for being here so much. Thank you so much, people, for watching me. And I'm so thankful. Archangel Michael, please protect myself and the collective, so mote it be.